All right. Hey, Sam, we're live.
Hey,
Hey, how are you?
hey, I'm doing all right. I got a little bit stressed right now. I got a lot going on, but can't complain too much.
Yay, yay. Call me Phil. Hi, call me Phil. We have audience already there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey,
Yes, so my name is Ching Juhl. I host this a conversation with someone special since 2 years ago when we first had a lockdown. And I think today, Sam, you are 100, like 69 or 70 episode. So I've done a lot of talking. And also, I think we have also talked when Yangan group, right? We talked on Clubhouse and no,
yeah, if you go back far enough,
StreamYard.
I definitely got an episode before this one somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, how are you doing? And Sam, where are you? Tell us.
So right now I'm in Richmond, Virginia. I'm doing pretty good, but later tonight I just found out maybe 15 minutes before I got on camera that I'll be going to New York. I thought that was going to be on Tuesday night, but apparently it's tonight. On Wednesday, 420, I'm providing harm reduction services for a hip hop show. So I'll be administering Narcan. If anyone gets in trouble using too much, I'll be giving away free doses of Narcan. Um, if everything goes through the way I expect it to, I'll also have fentanyl test strips so people can make sure that they're safe before they do anything. The week after this, I'm doing a speaking panel on harm reduction and mental health. Um, got some, not exactly sure who the co-panelists are yet, but everyone who's like, it'll be like one of these five people or whatever, like they're all like way above my pay grade. So like psychiatrists, head of research programs, all like going to be guests on my panel. So that's really exciting. Going to be interviewed by Eddie V from Yang Gang next weekend. So I'm in Richmond right now, but I'll be moving around a whole lot these next couple weeks.
Wow. Wow, congratulations. That sounds exciting. Wonderful. So, now tell us a little bit more about how I know you because you're young and we met in Iowa first and we hang out, and I also saw you in March last month, and you came to New York City to participate the film screening of my Yangon Diary, and thank you so much for being so supportive because it's like, 6-7 hours drive, one way. So but tell us a little bit how you became a mental health professional, and how does that whole like idea or education, or how did you do that? Like tell us a little bit, because we all need
Yeah.
help. We all need help.
So the way I got into this field is a bit of a crazy story. When I started college, I was a math major, and it didn't take me very long to realize that that wasn't for me. Like as much as I love math and I want to help people get excited about, science and technology and building the future and something with really good career prospects, I don't want to sit in my room looking at papers all day. So I jumped around for a while. I was an education major for a couple semesters, but long story short, that didn't work out for a wide variety of reasons. And I was just looking at my different options, what I could do to help other people and to, make the world a better place. Um, and mental health is something that I have experience living with. It's also something I've experienced helping friends and family with. So I decided to get into that area. And I chose addiction counseling specifically because it was the like quickest program. Like to be a therapist is like you need a master's degree minimum, and that's like the lowest entry level. For some reason, to treat addiction, which is like really like important and risky, you just need a non-degree certificate. So I was like, let me go ahead and just get in the field as fast as I can. And if I start out helping people overcome addiction, which is like super treatment resistant, it's very difficult to get through. By the time that I like continue my education and I become a therapist or whatever, like it'll be a piece of cake just to help. Like, oh, you're sad, like you have like marital problems, okay, I helped someone get off heroin last week, like I got you. So that's kind of how I got into the space. um, but it's a very turbulent field right now. um, Lots of need, hella people need help, but there's not that much funding making it to the clinics. There's a lot of grants being written. And, Andrew Yang talked about like administrative redundancies, that you want to give someone $1,000. And if you don't have like a direct structure, you're going to spend 900 of those dollars trying to figure out who to give it to. And that's like a real problem currently in the addiction counseling industry.
Yeah. So do you see that COVID has impact in this area? Like, do you see more people need help because COVID lockdown?
More people need help. The people who need help are like in greater need. Um, there's lower access to help, and it's riskier. It's riskier to use because you're not in a social setting. So if something goes wrong, a lot of the time there's no one there to call for help. So COVID has made a huge increase in severity in my field for sure.
So how do you personally, do you have any tips for people who are suffering? Like what are the sort of a few, we don't want to be somebody's therapist right now, but what are the in general thing people can do for their mental health?
For mental health, it's gonna sound stupid and crazy, but I'm telling you, this is so real, and I experienced it myself. Diet, sleep, and exercise will make more of a difference than you can possibly imagine. Like the foods that we eat are designed only to make us want to eat more food. They're not designed to actually nourish our body and give us the nutrients we need. So try to eat more vegetables and more fruits. Try to eat less bread, less chips. Try to sleep the same time every night, even if you're not sleeping the same amounts. Going to sleep at the same time every night makes a huge difference. Make sure you're drinking water. I will also say BMAP, behavior equals motivation and prompt, or motivation, ability, prompt. So if you're having your trouble like behaving a certain way, look at your motivation, look at your abilities, and look at what's prompting the behavior, and try to get that equation a little more balanced. Like if you're not motivated, and you don't have great abilities, give yourself like a better prompt to start building your skills. If you have a lot of skills and a lot of ability, but it's just not motivating, you don't have like a good reason, give yourself another reason. BMAP, behavior equals motivation, ability, and prompt. Those things,
Wow.
and diet and exercise and sleep, great start. But also more than any of those, by like a million, seek help. BetterHelp.com, um, Mindspace, or just go find a therapist's office. I know it's not always affordable, but BetterHelp.com, it's cheaper than weed, so I'll say that.
Yes. So yeah, and those are very, very good tips that you mentioned. Yeah. So now tell us a little bit about your art, your artist. I know you, when I first met you, you have, handsome cameras in your hand. We talk about photography a little bit, videography a little bit, and then later I found out you're a rapper, and now I also know you're an artist. So tell us a little bit about, all these artsy thing. Where are these artsy gene come from?
Um, I don't think it's an artsy gene. There's no one in any of my family tree who does art or even respects art. I started art just for mental health, really. It helps me not go crazy the more art that I can make. So I started out with poetry, first writing, and then joined poetry club in my high school, and then started doing cafes and competitions. And then I made the transition to hip hop. And then after doing that, I started painting and wire working and wood carving, and I just enjoy being creative. It's not something that I'm like pursuing as a career, but if I stop making art for too long, like my symptoms get worse. So yeah, that's kind of my involvement. It's something I'm passionate about, something I love doing, but it's not like a career. Like I don't have like an art website. I'm not in any museums or anything. All these things behind me.
Yeah.
So those are wood carvings that are painted with watercolors. On that side or this side, you can't even see that. That's a dolphin. That's a tree, and that's watercolor on canvas.
Mm.
Yeah, I just like making art. You can see some of my art on Instagram at the artists on what.
Nice, nice. Uh, Sam's Instagram link is in the description below. Yeah. So, now tell us a little bit about your rap thing because I heard you doing that for us a while ago. And what are the usually you rap about? Like the do you rap anything or you have some kind of theme?
So I always try to rap about like I use rap as like a way to start conversations about difficult things that are important, like social things and political things and economic things. I treat rap kind of as like a rapper to put journalism around, so people that need to listen will actually hear it. Because there's lots of people doing journalism, there's lots of people talking about these things, but the people who like to consume that kind of thing, they already have those important voices, you know? Like who reads books? People who are already educated. You know what I mean? Who watches the news? Someone who already is aware of what's going on in the world. So I take these ideas and I put them in the format of rap music so that it can reach audiences who need to hear it the most. You know, the people who are most in need of education usually are the ones with the least access to it. And I feel like if you put it on a nice trap beat, you know, you'll catch the ears that need to hear it.
So what happened when you want to rap? What kind of equipment do you use? Do you record yourselves, or do you talk? Let other people listen to you. Like, do you do social media? How 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 do you deliver your work?
As far as delivering it, I pretty much don't. You can go to my
Okay.
SoundCloud if you want to listen to it, but I'm not
Uh,
running ads. I'm not
uh,
like putting signs up. I'm not pushing it
mm,
in any type of way. There was a period of time where that's all what I wanted to do.
mm,
But then I got further in my education. I had a record deal go south. I
mm.
lost about $7,000 trying to
Oh
pursue
no.
that. So
Oh.
after that went south, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on healthcare. And you know, maybe if my healthcare career goes really well and I have a bunch of money to play with, maybe I'll do something. But for now, like it's just something I do for fun in my room. As
Yeah.
far as making it, I always paid for studio time. You know, went and
Yeah.
found a mixing engineer,
Uh-huh.
um, paid for studio space, paid for mastering. Like I did it really official back when I was still recording. But nowadays, like people don't even hear me rap because I just do it in my room when I'm feeling creative, and I
I
don't like
see.
push myself with it. You know, same way with painting. Like I'm not trying to be in a gallery. Like I just want to get the crazies out.
Yeah. Yeah. So now I am actually in SoundCloud. I don't know. Do you have anything you want to share about some old past work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play the
I
song
okay.
"Topple Democracy."
I'm already in your page. You are sitting on the beach or something with a chair and with a cigar.
Yeah, we'll
Is
call it
that
a cigar.
what is it?
Oh, we'll call it
Oh,
a cigar. No worries.
okay. Okay.
Play the
So
song "Topple Democracy" if you're gonna play something. I wrote
top
that
of a
song
democracy. Hold on. Uh-huh.
when Donald Trump was like being all friendly with North Korea back in the day.
Uh-huh.
And I actually didn't release it because by the time I finished recording it, the news cycle had moved on and I felt like it was irrelevant. But
Oh,
the more I listened to it, the more I realized like that song has gotten more and more true every day.
oh, okay. Let me see. I'm going to share this page with you because I don't know which one is which. So SoundCloud and
Here, I
then
can.
share, and you can tell me which one.
Oh, okay. So those are my playlists.
Oh, okay.
Click on the top, the where my picture is.
There.
That should take you
Okay.
to my page. Okay.
Uh,
Just keep scrolling and it should be there eventually.
okay.
Carl is also a good one if you want to play that.
Oh,
That
it's
is a
about.
song about racially motivated predatory loan practices.
Whoa. Whoa. Okay, I'm gonna click to see if you can hear. Okay. Can you hear?
Yep.
Okay.
Damn, son, something's wrong with this kid.
That's my DJ tag.
I'm a dictionary dinosaur, like a thesaurus with a vocab that would take the paper of a mighty force. It is dense, so it depends. They might ignore, they might absorb it. Regardless, I find it important. Exposing the portions of persons, claiming it's perfect, but serving to horses, to broken people who are hoping it's working and praying it's worth it. Made the deposit, but barely afford it. Pay child support, so Lord know they deserve it. But you jug and finesse it and leave them deserted, hurting, overexerted, no hope in the world for a birth or resurgence. You claiming you selling a cure, but your potions just worsen the burden. Worsen the burden. You claiming you selling a cure, but your potions just worsen the burden. Aye, aye, aye. Lakeisha got some kids, couple part-time jobs. One kid graduated, another one got prom. Trying to see you more, but ain't got no time off. No paying her vacation, she ain't worked there long. Trying to be her forum, got a payday loan. A suit for him to share and some new cologne. Plus they interviewing soon, so it won't be long. For the suits, them get to use and then pay back strong. But minimum adjustable and fees alone added up to more than payments on her goddamn home. Had to come back to the block that she grew up on. Now her kids go to school in a different zone. Resume got the name of the school they from. Interviewer read it, it's just rubbing them wrong. Rather pick a candidate whose life is calm. While they qualified, they ain't getting no call. Position just got given to a guy named Carl. Yeah, they qualified, but ain't getting no call. Position just got given to a guy named Carl.
Cool.
Something wrong with this kid. White privilege. Meanwhile, lone shark man flexing up. Pull up in a Benz, back home, got an extra truck. That use when he tear through mud. Zooming through a hood safari on a hunt for blood. Upon death, transfer debt to the ones they love. Sign away their life on the line above. Fill them up with promises of college and a new car, a new fit so they know who you are. You'll look good, you'll feel good, you'll go hard and invest in your life and your art and fill up your damn heart. But they skip the damn part on page 10 where they take your wages until you have babies. And if you miss payments, their interest it raises until there's no way you can make it. If they can't collect, then collectors start raging. If you worked and earned it, then now they can take it for close and then flip it and double their statement. They'll come steal your soul to enforce an agreement and they get away because they sign underneath it. They'll steal your sword to enforce an agreement and they get away because they sign underneath it.
If I had to summarize that song into one line, it would be read before you sign. I don't care if that joint is 50 pages and you in a hurry. Take it home and sign it later. Don't sign something before you read it. That's how you sell your soul, is by accident.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have a question about the process of this, and you have a accompaniment in the bottom. So how does that work? Is that like you find a piece of music after you wrote or after you cite those texts? How does that work?
Cite the text. You're funny, Ching.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're cool. It's just interesting wording. So I always start with the instrumental.
Uh-huh.
I don't usually make them. I have one song that I made from scratch, and then all the other ones, like I'll go and I'll buy a beat from a producer, and then I'll add my own touches to it.
Oh, I
And
see.
then once I kind of like have a feel for the song, I'll
Mm.
catch a little bit of a flow, and then I'll go from there. But usually I have like a general topic in mind before I start writing. Like I want to address this idea on this song.
Mm.
But yeah, I always start with the beat and then go to the lyrics afterwards.
I see. So the music and the beat as actually is leading your composition.
Oh, absolutely,
Oh, okay,
absolutely.
okay. Now, when you like write something like that, do you just like the idea comes in your mind at the spot when you listen? Do you write them down and then you memorize them? How does that work?
So what I record is definitely not off the top. It's definitely not improvised. Like I just step to the mic and it just comes out. That is a skill I've developed, but when I'm doing that, like it's a lot harder to stay on topic. You know, you're just in your head trying to find a rhyme, just trying to think of the next word that sounds like what you're saying. When I do, like when I record something, it's always like very topical. So those I write. The writing process involves a lot of like similar skills. So, you know, you write a couple lines and then you read them back and another line will come out of you and then you adjust it and make this word a little bit different and then maybe change the tone that you say it with and then read it again and then you get the next line or the next two lines. So it's kind of a combination, but it's always prepared and memorized before I step to record it.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, I wanted to listen to more of your work. We were
Feel
gonna
free
do
to after this.
yes, yes. I would love to. So tell us a little bit. What is your involvement right now with the forward, or have you gone into the movement? Because you and I were young and we worked together, and oh yeah, let's backwards. So 2 years ago I met you, actually 20 January 2020 I met you in Iowa. And tell us a little bit, how did you become Yangan, and how was the whole experience has impacted you?
So I guess my first exposure to Andrew Yang was on the Joe Rogan podcast. Real quick, I want to say there's a lot of like bad media about Joe Rogan, but if you go actually listen to him, he says a lot of crazy things. Very, very true. I'm not going to say he's not saying some very stupid things, but he says a lot of good things too. And whenever he says something that's kind of crazy, he's like, well, I don't know. I'm not a professional. This is just what I think. You guys should go look it up. So a little bit of defending Joe there. But what caught my attention the most was Andrew Yang's drug policy. That's my field. So the fact that he actually had anything specific to say already, I was interested. And he's for what's called the Portugal model, where you decriminalize personal amounts of all drugs. And if you get caught with drugs, instead of going to jail, you get linked up with a social worker, an addiction counselor, a lawyer, and a doctor, and they help you get better instead of sending you to jail where you're just going to meet more people who do those things. So that's what made me like first start wanting to support him. But then I saw all the other things that he does, and he's like very data oriented, very results driven. Like, who cares how it sounds like if it gets the job done better than the other ways? And that's kind of how I am. A lot of things, especially in addiction medicine, are counterintuitive. It sounds like a bad idea until you go look at how many clinics have tried this, how much did it work, and what are those results compared to other strategies. And like most things in life are counterintuitive. Just because something sounds good doesn't mean that that's how it's going to work. So that's kind of what drew me in initially. And then it was, I think, late December of 2019. I had finished my non-degree program, taken my test, and there was like 2 months before you find out if you got your certification or not. And I saw on Twitter, someone was like, Yang is polling at this place, which is the same place as this other presidential candidate. They sent this many people to Iowa. They got third place in Iowa, then second place in the next state, and then they won the presidency. And we have enough Yang gang to send people out there and replicate this. And I was like, well, I'm not doing nothing. So the first time in my life, I hopped in a car full of strangers and drove across the country. It was a very dreamlike situation. Like the whole thing was crazy. It was an amazing experience. So hopped in a car full of strangers. I drove across the country. I knocked on strangers' doors and told them about policies, told them, how to vote, where to go, what time, what day, do they need to register in this area, stuff like that. And I also met a bunch of lifelong friends while I was out there. I met Ching on, I think, the first day, which is a story in and of itself. Like the day I met you, like I almost started yelling at you. Like I was almost very mad. But that's not how I approached it. I took a more civil approach, and we started talking, and we've been friends ever since. I've also met a lot of other people that I've stayed in touch with. Nick Rivera, Peter Foman, Yoon Jae Lee, just to name a few. Brittany Rodriguez. Like, there's so many people that like I love with all my heart that I met at that place, and I would have never met anywhere else. Then I came back, and COVID hit.
Wait. Why were you? Why you were about to yell at me?
Okay, so one of the things that I do for fun is photography, and I brought my camera out there just to see if any art would happen. And I have the Sony A3. Now, I've never met this woman in my life, but from across the room, I see someone with the Sony A7 something. All right, so it's like 2 or 3 steps above mine. Plus, it's like the newest year model of it. Plus, you have the same lens as me, except like also upgraded. And I see you grab all that, you fiddle for a while, you put it on the table, you take out your iPhone, and you use your iPhone the rest of the day. And I was so mad. I was like, what are you doing? You have an expensive high-end camera set up, and you're using a fucking phone? And then you show me some of the things you've done on it. And I'm just like, oh, okay, maybe I should hold my tongue. And completely unplanned, but Ching ended up shooting a whole documentary on that iPhone about Yang Gang. And it's amazing. I've seen it on the big screen in a theater, and like I gotta tell you, I would not have, if I hadn't met you and I saw that and someone said it was shot on an iPhone, I would have told them they're lying. Like, it's so good. Like, I don't understand what you do to get those shots, because I've seen people walk around with like the full Ronin stabilizer frame, and they have an external mic and they got a zoom lens on top of it, and it still doesn't look as good as you just holding your phone. Like whatever you do is magic. I don't know if it's lighting or composition or like if you paid the devil. I don't know what it is, but you can do some real good art on that iPhone.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Yeah. So, yeah, continue. Then you went back. You said to
Yeah. So
Virginia.
after,
No, no, no. You forgot. You forgot. You were supposed to be in Iowa for 1 week, and then
oh yeah,
the yen week became yen month, and you stayed. And for the whole month, that's that like so much dedication.
I
I
mean,
stayed for 2 weeks. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, people say it's like respectable dedication, this and that, but I mean, for me, is like I get to my two choices are stay in a different part of the world I've never been to, interacting with new people, making new friends I share a lot in common with, or go back home and then just sit around waiting to see if I pass this test. Like going home wasn't gonna get me a job any faster. So for me, it was natural. It was a totally sensible decision. Like I don't live in the cheapest area. Iowa is a lot cheaper than where I lived. The hotel was already taken care of. Um, I loved everyone that was volunteering with me. I loved doing what I was doing and trying to help the public get involved in making the world a better place. And if I went back home, I would have just been watching TV. So don't think too much of it. But yeah, it was originally a 1 month opportunity, and I was like looking at bus tickets, trying to like buy one to go home. And while I was I remember this. We were in the Iowa City office, and Tim Lee is the one who said this. I'm on my phone trying to buy a bus ticket, and I remember the look on his face. He's looking at his phone just quietly, and then, guys, it's not Yang Week anymore. It's not Yang Week anymore. And we're all like, dude, I know. It's like the last day. Like, we're all so sad. He's like, no, it's Yang month now. We just got the funding. So I ended up staying there a whole week. Ching, you left Iowa City to go a million other places. I think you were still Yanging for most of the time. And then you came
I
back at
went
the
to
end.
Waterloo. Waterloo.
You went to Waterloo and then I think
Yeah.
Connecticut or New
Oh,
Hampshire or something.
yeah. After that, when I went to Waterloo for 1 week, then I went back to New York, and then I went to New Hampshire. Yeah.
Yep. So Ching was there the first week, and then I think the last week with me in Iowa City. I stayed in Iowa City the whole time. I thought it was a
I-
cool city.
That's a cool
Um,
place. I really
it
liked
really
it.
is.
They
Like
even
I
had
went to
hot
Iowa.
pot. They had hot pot.
They did. They had hot pot. They had a artsy movie theater for like small stuff. They had thrift shops. I went to Iowa expecting it to just be cornfields. Um, and I get to Iowa City and I'm so surprised. I'm like, oh, I never knew Iowa was like this. And then everyone was like, oh, Iowa's not like this. Iowa City is like this. You go somewhere else, it's going to be cornfields. And I was like, I think I'll stay here. I got offered to go to Waterloo. I got offered to go to like 2 or 3 other cities, and I was just like, I'm happy. I'm happy right here. I don't want to go stay in a Motel 8, volunteer, and then come back to my room and look at corn. I'd rather stay in a nice hotel and get to do
Yeah.
art afterwards. So
This the
it was an
hotel.
amazing opportunity. Like
The
it was
hotel was
absolutely amazing.
the
But
hotel
after
was nice. Remember?
it
It's
really
called
was
Graduation Hotel.
the Graduate
And
Iowa. Yeah, it was
graduate, right?
awesome.
Graduate. And do you know when we went to Waterloo, we stayed in these cheaper hotels, and I got a bed bug bite.
No.
Yes, I even saved it. I saw a black thing, and in the morning, I was itching here and there. Then I put it in a plastic bag, and I take this plastic bag. I took to the manager. I said, "You see, I got bitten by this thing."
That's crazy. Yeah, my
They
allergies are
didn't.
acting up. Give me just a second. I need to grab a
Oh,
water.
oh, okay, okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Just a moment.
So, while Sam is going to get water, I just wanted to thank all of you for joining us. And yeah, it's been a really wild ride, knowing Youngan, knowing Sam, and we also kept in touch after Andrew Yan suspended his campaign, and we do a lot of things together actually. So yeah, it's I think I feel like being a Youngan made me a better person because I never really did any political canvassing volunteer before this movement. and meeting people like Sam, and it was just like I've never seen anybody like that, you know. And he, when he canvases, you should see the film, the movie, and he canvases with this like he's like a cowboy. He on his shirt he has a vest. On the left side is a brochure. Right side is his phone, and then he holds a clipboard, and then he handles his phone with an app called Minivan, where we know where to go to knock on doors, because we mostly knock on um, Democrat Democrat, yeah, people are Democrat because it's a primary. So we you know, Adrian was fighting with the Democratic Democrats, not with Republicans. So anyway, he's back now. Let me put you back. Yeah. So anyway, you got your water? That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you so after the whole spiel was over, like where were you when Andrew Yang suspended his campaign on February 11th, 2020?
So I was in Richmond, Virginia. I had just moved like a week before that. So I get back from Iowa, and at that time I was still in Northern Virginia, like DC suburbs. And I get back and I accept a job offer at a hospital complex. I moved to Richmond like a week before I need to start. And I show up for my first day of training, and it's the same day that COVID restrictions hit our city. So I get there and everyone looks panicked and in a hurry, and I don't know what's going on. I'm waiting for like 45 minutes before anyone can talk to me. Someone finally comes and talks to me and they say, hey, we got COVID restrictions. We have to cut our staff by 50%. So your offer is no longer on the table. Like, sorry about that. So that really sucked. And then like a week after that, Andrew Yang suspends his campaign. My city is basically shutting down. So I think, if I'm not going to be able to get a job in healthcare, maybe I can pursue music. So I reached out to, is it A&R? I don't remember exactly what that stands for, but basically it's like a talent scout. They go find people who do art, they get them in the studio, get them a deal, and then they take a cut, right? So I reach out to this guy, and I meet him at the studio, and he tells me the studio is not really staying afloat. They're not doing what they need to. COVID came, and they're about to go under. So he's going to leave and start his own company doing like photo video, which is a lot lower overhead than like a studio. Like you can just go somewhere, do the shoot, send them the footage, and you're good. You don't need to pay for rent. Don't need to buy like all this equipment and electric bills and stuff. And it made sense as an A&R. He's leaving his previous company, like bring his talent with him, right? Wrong. Bad decision. One of the worst decisions I've ever made in my life. Long story short, 8 months and $7,000, and my album gone, just gone. So end up living in a hotel for a little bit off of that because my real estate situation got tangled up with everything. Get myself an apartment, bounce around between temporary gigs, and that kind of brings us to now. Couldn't really find work with the certification I had. It's a new certification. And in school, they say, oh, it's brand new. Everyone's going to want you right out the door. You're going to be valuable and rare and hard to find. But I get in the job field and they're like, oh, yeah, we don't have an opening for that position. If you had a bachelor's, we could hire you. But a non-degree certificate, I don't know. So I do a bunch of temp gigs. And eventually, like earlier this month, I got training to do a different certificate. And they're hiring for that. So hopefully I'll get back in the field working real soon. I did have work in my field for a little bit, but didn't work out. I was getting like 2 hours a week scheduled. I was on call 24/7, getting woken up at 3 a.m. to come and do like a 45-minute shift and then go home. So it just didn't work out after 6 months. I left, did the new training. I'm now certified as a peer recovery specialist. So that's good. Got a couple different offers on the way. Done some interviews, waiting to hear back. So hopefully I'll get back on that. But after I did the training and before I was like really deep in the job hunt, I started going to some support groups I didn't know about beforehand. I got invited to be a facilitator for one of them, so that's really exciting. I get to host my own meeting once every 2 weeks. That one's for mental health specifically. I got invited to do public speaking events for a different support group on the app called Clubhouse. That's really cool. I'm going to be doing a speaking event Wednesday the 27th, just over 2 weeks from now. And I also slowly getting into a leadership role in a meditation group for recovery from mental health or substance abuse or self-harm or gambling, like anything that you have trouble like does like behavior-wise. This place can help you get through. It's called Recovery Dharma. I recommend it to everybody. If you're having a bad time, go to a Recovery Dharma meeting. It doesn't matter what you're struggling with; they're going to help you.
Recovery
So
Dharma. Okay.
yeah, they have some in
So
New York.
it's an online thing or in person?
Both. They meet
Mm,
online when they can, but because of COVID, a lot of places are still online only.
yeah, that's great. That's great. Now, I would guess like because people are so much in need of mental health help. Um, I was just thinking, with your specialty, with your training, you should you should be able to. People need you. Like, so what's going on? Like, why there's so shortage of what is a shortage of job, or is because the requirement is extremely high? Like
Neither.
they,
It comes down to two things:
uh-huh, uh-huh,
staffing and
mm,
funding.
mm,
So with funding, the state or the federal government will make grants, and then it'll go through the legislator and then through cities and counties, and it's just sitting in some board somewhere waiting to be given to a clinic.
mm,
Uh, so there's money out there, but it's not making it to the end destination where it can actually go to help people. And the other thing is staffing. So the demand rises, more people need counseling, and the people that need it need like more appointments and stuff. So the staff, like direct care staff, like counselors and doctors and prescribers, they get overworked, and that siphons resources away from the rest of the company. So there's not many people in human resources, there's not many people in marketing, there's not many people in operations and logistics. So we get overworked, and then there's no one else to do the hiring. So
mm.
everywhere says that they're hiring, and then you apply and you send a follow-up email and you call them and you leave voicemail and you send letter and just nothing, because there's one guy in the office doing the whole thing, because all the money has to go to the counselors and the doctors and stuff.
Mm,
So basically it's industry dysfunction. Um, it has nothing to do with anyone that's actually giving the care.
mm.
It's just, you know, when someone goes and starts a business to help people overcome addiction, it's usually not because they're like super business people. So these things were never like super efficient uh, profit machines to begin with. And then you go and you overwork them, they just get less and less functional outside of the actual counseling side. So everywhere's hiring, or everywhere is looking for people to hire, but no one has the resources to actually do the action of hiring.
Are there any possibilities for you to have a business of that, to help people? Like, do you have to have a company? Can you just be like a kind of freelancer, offer your help? Are there a lot of logistic things? Like me, right? I'm a musician. I tell people I can teach violin, and people just come to me. I teach them. Yeah. So I don't need to give them to see, hey, this is my degree, or I don't even need to give them my resume. So how is your field like? Can you make money that way?
So it's kind of complicated. If you want to make the claim that you are like a healthcare organization and you treat any healthcare issue, um, then basically no. You have to like become like a registered C corp with a lot of licensing that I don't have the degrees to get. On the other hand, I've been thinking about doing like life coaching. That is something that's pretty unregulated. To start like your own recovery pathway and just call yourself a self-help group, you can do that without any licensing. But it's really difficult to find people that need help. You know, it's not like I can just like go put a ad up somewhere and lots of people will be like, oh yeah, I'm a heroin addict. Sure, I'll go talk to this random stranger I've never met. You know, they're a lot harder to find these people because these people are usually ashamed of the fact that they need help. It's not something they enjoy talking about it. When they're using and like you can see that they need help, they're not in public, you know? Like you don't really see that many people just getting high at a Starbucks, unless it's weed, but that's a whole different discussion. Um, and once you even if you know where to find them and you talk to them, it's like most people don't want to admit that they need help. You know, they don't want to go and pay someone to admit that they have issues. So yes and no. It's something I've been looking into, something I've been like kind of dipping my toes in the water. But it's not like easy peasy lemon squeezy, as it is in certain industries.
Yeah,
But
interesting.
I've been thinking about maybe starting an LLC to do consulting in this area. There's a lot of people who like the thing I'm doing on 420. I'm calling it consulting work. So basically, I have a personal friend who's in the event planning industry. He does rap shows, and he was talking to me about what he's going to do. You know, it's a 420 show. I said, you know, there's probably going to be a lot of people there who aren't sober. You don't want to have any liability issues on your hands if something goes wrong. So I talked to him, and I'm providing Narcan. If anyone who doesn't know what that is, if you take too many opiates and you start to overdose and you begin the process of like your heart shuts down, you stop breathing, stuff like that. There's actually a drug to reverse that. It's called Narcan. You need training to use it, but they have trainings online all the time. It's like 2 or 3 hours, and you can save a life with it. So I'll be giving out Narcan for free. If anyone is like in a crisis mode overdosing, I can administer Narcan and bring them back to life. I'll be providing test strips. So if anyone wants to use, they can make sure that they're not getting fentanyl in their drugs, which means if they don't have fentanyl, it's like way, way lower risk. Like one, if you've never done fentanyl, like even if you're like a regular everyday heroin user, a dose of fentanyl the size of a grain of table salt is like enough to kill the average person, even if you use heroin every day. Like that's how strong this stuff is. So I'm getting test strips to make sure that no one's getting bad drugs that are cut with something that they're not looking for, giving out Narcan for free, and gonna have me and at least one other person just like looking out in the crowd, walking around and making sure that no one's overdosing. So stuff like that. Trying to get into that more often.
Wow. Well, speaking of in the health side, and I understand you specialize in emergency clinical movement. It's called harm reduction. What is that?
So real quick, I hate to correct you, but not emergency as in like
Oh,
emergency room.
okay.
Emergent as in like it's still
Emergent.
coming
Sorry.
out. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
still kind of
Okay.
new.
Uh-huh.
So harm reduction is basically the idea that we should treat substance abuse just like any other public health issue. If you're a primary care doctor and someone comes in for their yearly checkup, and every time you see them, you say, hey, you need to change your diet and start exercising, or you're going to get diabetes. 5 years later, they come in and they had diabetes. Do you tell them that they're a bad person and kick them out? No, you give them insulin and you keep seeing them and you connect them with a nutritionist, you know? So why are we kicking people out of rehab when they relapse? You know, why are we sending people to jail for being addicted? That's kind of the overarching idea of harm reduction. Some harm reduction movements include like clean needle exchanges. So if you're using, at least you're not going to be spreading diseases like HIV, AIDS, hepatitis. It also includes things like safe use facilities. They just had one open in New York, which is really cool. So if you're someone who does use drugs that can possibly kill you, you go to this place whenever you get high. So if you do start to die, they can bring you back to life. They have people with Narcan. And this place, last time I checked, maybe about a month ago, they had done something like 50 interventions for people who were overdosing. And they didn't have to use Narcan once because they gave the people an oxygen mask. and the increased oxygen gave them like enough resources to start breathing again and get their heart start pumping again, which I thought was absolutely amazing. You know, Narcan is expensive, an oxygen tank is not. So we can save a lot of money in the government system by having a facility where we can use oxygen tanks instead of having someone call an ambulance and the ambulance drives there with a defibrillator and a Narcan and doing CPR. Other things in harm reduction include like drug testing at raves and dancing events so that people know what they're about to do and they don't take something that's like cut or laced with something they don't know about. Education and advocacy is a huge part of harm reduction. One of the big reasons that people end up in trouble with using drugs is because they don't know. Like very few people are having a wonderful day and think, you know what would make today even more enjoyable? Smoking meth. You know, it's because they don't know, you know, someone gives it to them and they don't say what it is, or someone says it's meth and they've, you know, if you're in an abstinence only education school, you have no clue what meth does to you. Like you just don't know. So education is a part of harm reduction. Basically anything that helps people be hurt less by drug abuse and doesn't paint them out as a bad person and ostracize them, that's harm reduction.
Wow. This is such a proactive, right? And positive way of treating it, right? That's pretty amazing. Yeah, that's great. So I hope there'll be more of those facilities or movement, right? Is this a relatively new, or it's been there for a while?
So it's relatively new as far as like medical science goes.
Mm,
It's been coming out the last maybe like 10, 15-ish years,
mm,
which sounds like a long time, but you go look at like how long it takes for like a new type of surgery to get approved. You know, you go look at like how long it takes for a new medicine to come out. Like this thing is brand new, brand
mm.
spanking new. And there's actually a lot of pushback in the field about it. Like one big thing that's harm reduction that's like one of the more widely accepted things is called MAT, um, medication assisted therapy. So if you're addicted to opiates and you're not able to quit, one thing you can do is instead of buying, hold on, let me just fix my headphones. I got tangled up.
The headphone is touching some hard. Maybe the zipper makes sound.
Yeah, probably. Is that better?
Yeah, yeah. As
Okay.
long as it doesn't tingle around. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. So, MAT, medication-assisted therapy. This is things like Suboxone, Vivitrol, bupropion, stuff like that. Basically, if you're addicted to opiates and you're not able to quit, one thing that can really help you is instead of going to the streets and buying drugs from organized crime, you go to a clinic and you get an opiate from a doctor and you know what's in it, you know how much is in it, you can get the same time and the same place every day. And usually these things are only open like 3 to 5 a.m. So these people can go, they can get high in the morning, and then they can go about the rest of their day like a functional human. And they're not stuck in withdrawal. They're not having to go to like bad areas and risk getting caught in like gunfire and gang fights to get this stuff. You know, people overdose less often, people die less often. And a lot of people are able to use it to get sober, you know? First, they switch from like heroin to Suboxone, then they switch from Suboxone to Vivitrol. And then after they're on Vivitrol for a couple months, they can sober up.
Hmm.
It saves lives and it helps people get sober. But certain parts of MAT still get you high. So there's a
Hmm.
lot of people in my industry who view that as a bad thing. And if you're on medication assisted therapy and you want to get into their rehab, you have to quit. And if you're on medication assisted therapy, they're not going to let you work there. It's controversial. Getting people out of street crime and into a clinic is controversial. Like it blows my mind. That's how cutting edge and how new this stuff is. That like even though we have numbers that less people are dying, more money is going into U.S. healthcare, and less money is going into like the cartel. It's still not made its way into being popularly accepted.
Yeah, that's too bad. That's too bad. So, I was wondering, how do you know anything about recently? Shanghai has been locked down for more than 2 weeks. The COVID. Have you read anything, or do you know anything about it? The reason I mention that is I think it's going to be very, very affecting people's mental health.
So in Shanghai, I know very little. I've seen a
Mm,
couple of YouTube videos. I'm not going to claim to be like educated or up to date on it.
mm,
Um, but I will say, like, anytime there's some type of event that like causes people to be stressed, drug use goes up. Anytime that there's something that causes people to be isolated and lose contact with their support system, drug use goes up. And especially with isolation, using goes up and then access to support goes down. And if something bad happens, there's no one around. So seeing what happened in the US, even though our lockdowns were like pretty lenient, all things considered, as far as government lockdowns go, US, even though we're lenient, like drug issues got a lot worse. So I can only imagine in Shanghai, it's going to be much more severe. But from my understanding, China has a lot less of a drug problem because they have like a lot more of an authoritarian regime.
right.
So, in the U.S., if you're a drug dealer, you go to jail for a long time, and then you come out of jail, and because you have that on your record, you can't get a job, and your only option is to go back to selling drugs. Um, in places where there's like authoritarian regime, you get caught selling drugs, you die. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
or you get sent out of the country to
Yeah.
unknown locations.
Uh-huh.
So it's going to be interesting to see how much of a problem this is in Shanghai because they have like a better handle on drug use, but the situation is a lot more severe. So it's going to be interesting, but I don't really know.
Yeah. I think yeah, compared to the West, compared to United States, that their drug taking is, not as big as, as big as here. And I don't think even it's that available, it's not as available. But this lockdown, I watch lots of excuse me, videos, even on YouTube. If you type in, you can watch a lot of clips every day. And then I have interviewed a good like 13 or 14 people, their relatives of Shanghai for the last 2 weeks. So it's very. I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned because their policy is to have a zero tolerance of COVID. So if they get one case, if there's a one person in your building is positive, they lock down the whole building. And then now they're supposed to like open, but if your building has one more person, you have to lock down for another 14 days. One,
Wow.
yeah, in one building, that's just that's their. So anyway, there's a lot of problems, and
Yeah, there's a
we also
before we
saw
move on
some.
real quick.
Okay.
There's an interesting dynamic there.
Mm,
Um, Drugs are less available, and like you can't just like be on the street just like, hey, who wants cocaine? Like you can in bad cities in the U.S. But at the same time, the drug dealer has to live somewhere, and if their building gets locked down, they're probably gonna try and increase their sales within the building. So that's going to be interesting thing to pay attention to. You're probably going to see a spike in overdoses like local to a single apartment building. Um, yeah, I know that's crazy that it's like by building and not by city. I always thought it was like the whole city was
no,
on lock and open.
no, the whole city is locked down since April 1st. Now, gradually, they are opening gradually. But the theory is, the principle is, if your building tests one person, then you have to be locked down for another 14 days. That is the.
Yeah, as far as drug use goes, that's pretty dangerous. If you happen to have a drug dealer in your building and you're sitting around with 14 days and nothing to do, you're probably going to find that guy or girl.
Yeah, yeah. It's, but the thing is, when they say lockdown, that oh, my computer is hold on one second. Let me plug in my computer. So they say the okay, yeah. It's interesting. My I'm changing subject. My computer, right, has a four input on it. One of them actually is not working now. Is it
Ooh,
possible? Because I use one for the power, right? One for the camera. I use a web camera, and the other one I use for what do you call Ethernet. I link to my computer to Ethernet, not
Oh,
using Wi-Fi because it's more stable. And then the other one I use is for my Yeti. Yeti, Yeti. This is the Yeti. Hello,
the mic.
hello, hello. Yeah, the
Yeah.
mic. But right now, my so I think I may have to switch because one is broken. So I need to plug in. I think I may have to do a different camera. Okay, so use the computer camera to talk to you, and then so i- if I get disappear, and you keep talking, okay? If I
Okay.
get disappear, so tell us a little bit about your. Can you hear me?
Hmm.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your current project you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, so I talked about it a little bit already.
Okay.
The big thing I'm working on right now is harm reduction for a 420 show. For anyone who doesn't know, 420 is basically a weed holiday. Um, and there's going to be like a big show in New York. They're going to be giving out free weed. There's going to be hip hop performances. There's going to be art and clothing for sale. Um, and a lot of the times that 420 is celebrated, people are also using other substances. There's a lot of times a spike in overdoses and deaths during 420. So I'm going to be going out to New York. I'm going to be bringing a bunch of Narcan and a bunch of fentanyl test strips. I'll be giving out Narcan for free. I'll be watching the audience to make sure that no one's overdosing. And if anyone does start to overdose, I'll administer Narcan, give CPR, and call 911 and keep giving CPR until paramedics arrive. With opiate overdoses, even if you call 911 immediately, a lot of times by the time they get there, it's too late. Um, Opiates are a central nervous system depressant, so they slow the activity of your nervous system down. And with opiates, what happens is you stop breathing. You just get so high and so slow that your breathing slows down and you get longer and slower breaths until they reach a zero. So you give them Narcan. Basically, Narcan it goes to the receptors that opiates bind to, knocks the opiates out the way, and then covers up the receptors so the opiates can't get to it anymore. And once the opiates are no longer active on your nervous system, you start regenerating nervous system activity and you start to breathe again. One thing people at home should know if they're interested in using Narcan is a lot of times when someone's overdosing, it's not because they did too much of what they thought they were doing. It's because what they thought they were doing actually had something else in it. So you give someone a dose of Narcan and you do CPR, they start breathing again. And then if you leave, they might go back to overdosing. Narcan is active for about, I think, 30 minutes, and then it releases from the receptors. And if what you took was so strong or you took such a large amount of it that when the Narcan stops being effective, there's still a lot of opiates in your system and you can go right back to overdosing. So every Narcan kit comes with 2 doses. So I'll be giving those out for free so people can take them home and be safe with the way that they do things. And if anyone gets in trouble during the event, I'll be administering that life-saving medicine and giving CPR on the spot. I'll also be have a table where you can test your drugs for fentanyl. Fentanyl is a opiate that's relatively new over the past maybe like 3 to 5 years. Um, I've only ever heard of a single person who does it on purpose. Every other time I've ever heard of fentanyl being involved, the person who did it didn't know it was in there until afterwards. Um, it's like it's no good. It's just straight up no good. It's used in hospitals for trauma medicine. So like if you're a soldier and your arm gets blown off and like it's in so much pain that they can't do a surgery on you, they'll give you like 1/4 of a grain of table salt and you'll go to sleep and they can do surgery on you. Now think about that. Such a small amount will put you to sleep so much that a doctor can cut you open, move your organs around, and sew you up without you so much as rolling over. That's not something that you want to be doing. That's not something you want to put in your body any other time. So when this substance ends up in drugs, like people die every time. So I'll be giving out kits for people to test what they're doing to make sure it's not in there.
Wow. Wow, that's really helpful. Thank you for the information. Hey, let's see. Someone is in our audience. Yunjie. Yunjie is in our audience.
What's up, Yunjay?
Hey, Yunjie.
I realized the other day I completely forgot to send you the pictures that we got on that rooftop of your apartment building. So remind me on Friday, and I'll get those to you. I'm gonna be super busy until Friday, but Friday I'll be able to send you those pictures. They came out really nice. I just forgot to send them. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know Yunjie and Sam and Nick's supposed to come also after 5 because he has a meeting. We all canvassed together in Iowa. Yeah. So Sharkfin, how are you, Mark? And then I let's see. What's the name of our friend here? Want to see more? Can you just remind me? Because when you have these kind of a fun name, I don't remember who is what to
I
see
am
more. Do you know what
not.
to see more?
Let me
Want to see more?
let me go to the YouTube on my phone because right now I'm just on the StreamYard on my laptop.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So thank you guys for being with us. And also earlier, I think is he your friend? Call me Phil? Who is Call Me Phil?
No,
Call Me
doesn't
Phil.
ring a
Do
bell.
I
Off
know
the
Call Me
top.
Phil? Is Call Me Phil young again?
Oh, I think Call Me Phil. I might know him from Clubhouse. Maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't let you go to the profile from the chat.
So anyway, yeah, thank you guys for joining us. And I'm having Sam Branson with me, and we are chatting about different things, about yen time, about mental health, about music. We also listened to Sam's what do you call rap music. That was great fun, and you can find him on SoundCloud. It was very impressive music making. And shall we play one more song for our guest?
We can do that real quick. Let me give one disclaimer. If anyone in the
Okay.
audience is in my industry, this is just nicotine. I have allergies. That's why I kind of look funky. I promise I'm not smoking weed on camera or at all.
Oh, okay. Nicotine, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. So let me go into your SoundCloud and maybe we can listen to something. And okay, tell me which one.
So a lot of my music is kind of intense. Do you want something intense or kind of more chill?
Chill.
Okay. Scroll back up.
Scroll back up.
Yeah. Other Things is really chill. Dismissive is a little more down tempo, a little more laid back. Let's see. Building Up My Abilities is kind of like a spooky 8-bit metal song that I made. It's still rap. Other Things is there's singing on that one that features my very good friend Natalie Aldrich, aka Natalie Von Kirk. She is an actress and a singer and a Shaolin disciple. Right now, she's doing a 3-year training at the American Shaolin Temple. Shout out Natalie.
Oh, Shaolin Temple. Wow.
Yep.
Okay. So
She
are
did
you in it? Are you in
Yeah,
it? Oh,
I am.
okay.
Natalie did the chorus on that one.
Oh, okay. Shall we listen to this?
Yeah, if you want to.
Okay.
You'll get to hear me sing. I had a cold when I recorded this song, though, so
Okay.
it's not my best vocal work, but it's not too bad.
Okay.
Yes, please. You wanna do, you want shit. Smile so white, cause it's wide as my teeth is. Proud of my accomplishments, not proud of who I'm beating. I wanna succeed, but I do not need to defeat them. Only better, I'm trying to be is better than I was last weekend. Oh.
You wanna do me, do me, do me. You wanna be me. You wanna do me, do me. Yes, please. You wanna I just wanna keep doing me, yeah.
Weather the weather with a jacket and a sweater and see that it's sweet, even when it storms and nothing is green. Cause the rain grows the food that you eat, so if it cancels your plan, think of the people it feed. Turn something bad into something good so goddamn easily. If you see the things between the lines to read, let the tables turn and their perspective speak. Try to walk a mile with 8 shoes on your feet. Take the time to analyze and seek the truth and make use of what you have for what you need. Only takes a couple seconds to sow the seed. Let it grow, next thing you know, make a couple stacks off the fruits you reap. To feast on fruits of labor every time you eat is the greatest way to nourish what's beneath.
You wanna do me.
Yeah. So where did you record this thing?
So that I recorded in a studio that no longer exists. He was called DJ Nix when he still did music. My good friend Rochelle, stage name Love LaRoche, they do singing and dance music, and they also do audio design for the State Department. They introduced me to this guy. I went in, recorded that and one other song, and then a couple months later, I texted him to do my next song. He didn't answer, and no one that was mutual friends knew where he was. So interesting story on that one.
Yes, great. So so tell me anything else you wanna shout out? Would you like to do a rapid fire with me? It's already 5:07. Do
Do
you
a
know
what?
rapid fire means like I ask a question, you answer?
Oh, rapid
Quick.
fire.
Yeah,
Okay, I
like a
totally
quick.
misheard you.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So do you have anything else you want to shout out before we do that?
Shout
Anything
out
we
Bipolar
yeah.
Support Club on Clubhouse. 4/27, I'll be doing a public speaking panel on harm reduction and mental health. I'll go into way more detail than I did on here, covering things like how to use safely, what the different dangers are, what diagnoses should stay away from what types of substances. And then also shout out my Instagram at the artist son what.
Yeah, it's I always have to remember that. So where what is this thing come from? Your Instagram and all your social media is that. Tell me.
So I chose that stage name
Yeah.
um, because it's very close to the reaction that I used to get when I told people I rapped. I'm like a 5'4" white guy who works in healthcare. I got Jewish face and Jewish blood in my veins, and like, oh, you make hip hop music, son? What, bruh? What did you just tell me? Like, you're like a hardcore metal rapper? I don't think so, bruh. Son, what?
So what?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No. The other question is, I don't know. I'm taking away our um rapid fire time. Is can you just be very briefly tell people why why people are very difficult to talk about bipolar?
The biggest reason it's difficult to talk about is because of the way people think about you after you say it. It's such a misunderstood diagnosis. Like, you say bipolar, and people think that means you're going to be smiling 1 second and crying the next. And it's like, that's not even close. That's not what the illness is. Bipolar, 2 poles. Each pole lasts like between weeks and months. Like, it's not about swinging rapidly. And people don't get it. They think that like you're crazy and unstable and like you can't hold a conversation. And when that's the public opinion of you, when you say something like that, you just stop saying it.
So, what are the statistics about do you know the population of people suffering with this disorder?
So it's definitely one of the less common disorders. Depending on which study you look at, between 1 and 3% of the adult population suffers from bipolar disorder. But it has the second highest suicide rate of any mental illness, second only to schizophrenia. Schizoaffective and schizotypal, both schizoid group disorders, actually have lower suicide rates than bipolar disorder. So very uncommon, but a pretty dangerous thing to live with.
Wow. I understand there's several celebrities we know, because normal people, we do not know what if they if it committed suicide, but only famous people we know, like for instance they say Robin Williams, right, suffer from that. And also we're not sure what about Anthony Bourdain, possibly. Yeah. And let's see who else. Yeah, even very famous people who did not Marilyn Monroe, actually they say she's a bipolar. Yeah. So very talented people. But anyway, I don't want to upset our friends with this let's do some fun thing. Okay, all right, so rapid fire. What's your favorite color?
Autumn yellow.
What do you do for breakfast? What do you eat for breakfast?
I do intermittent fasting, so I don't eat until 1 p.m.
The reason I asked that is because Sam was with me in my apartment last month. I was like, "What do you want for breakfast?" So it's funny. Yeah, and okay. So now, you do you eat meat? Are you a
Yes.
vegetarian?
I eat a lot of vegetables, but I'm not a vegetarian.
Okay. And do you eat spicy?
Sometimes.
Hey, Nick is here.
Hey, what's up, Nick?
I knew he had a meeting earlier. So do you guys have a question for Sam? So let's see. Now, any book you read is very good recently?
Buddha's Brain. Fantastic book.
What is that?
It's by 2 different authors with very long names, so I can't remember the author. But it's about the neuroscience of mindfulness meditation. Great book,
Wow.
Buddha's Brain. I can go grab it. Actually, I think
Okay.
it's within arm's reach right now,
Okay.
just by chance. Yeah.
Yeah.
By Rick Hansen and Richard Mendius.
Oh,
Buddha's Brain, the neuroscience, the practical neuroscience of happiness, love, and wisdom. Highly recommend it.
wow. Beautiful. Now, what was I going to say? Yeah, if you had an opportunity to have dinner with 3 person, they're all live, who would you want to have dinner with? Except me.
Oh, I've already done that. You're not special, Sam. Probably Rory Friera, Kendrick Lamar, and Mitch McConnell, just so I could change his mind or murder him.
That's funny. Oh, that's funny. Have you traveled much? Are there places like overseas you really like to visit? Like any cities you want to visit as leisure?
I would love to go to Japan. The food there is really good. I went there for a couple weeks just once. I don't really travel much like geographically, but I travel a whole lot socioeconomically. Like I've always thought you don't have to go somewhere to see a different way of life. You go a couple blocks down the road to a different income area, whole different way of life. So I travel a lot that way.
That's nice. Nick says, "Who do you want to share hot pot with?" He's being silly.
Nobody. I'm finishing it on my own.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. So yeah, let's see. Now if you won a lottery of 25 million, how would you spend the money?
25 million. Okay. Normally, when I answer the lottery question, I say I put 3/4 of it to the side to invest so I don't run out. But 25 million, that could last me a while. I would probably buy a house, open a business, invest, and do philanthropy.
Wow, that's an awesome answer. Awesome answer. And can I
Go get
ask you?
myself a fiduciary.
Can I ask you how old are you?
I'm 25, just as of like 2 weeks ago.
Oh my god, he's only 25. Oh. Anyway, yeah. So now what do you do for exercise?
Skateboarding.
Oh yeah, you skateboard in New York City, like
Yep.
big time. So you drove to New York and you parked somewhere, and then you just skateboard, right?
I skateboarded and took the subway, depending on where it was. Yeah. But I also do tricks like jump down stairs and grinding handrails and going off ramps and stuff. I can't stand going to the gym. I just get so bored. Like, okay, I picked it up, but I put it down. What's next? I pick it up and put it down again? Come on, I've been here 30 minutes already. Give me something fun. So yeah, I skateboard for that. Pretty much that reason alone.
Yeah. So what is your ideal date?
One that exists. We would go to an expensive foreign restaurant, and then watch a movie at home.
Nice. So tell us the weirdest date you had recently.
Let's just say I didn't say something the right way, and I got kicked out about 15 minutes into the date.
Kicked out? You mean what? You were inside something? What do you kick
I
out?
was in her home,
Oh, okay, okay.
and I said something that I was just trying to ask a question, but it came out really rude. And the way I said it, no, there was no saving it. There was no amount of perfection that could have undid what I had said. So
Oh, that's
that was
funny.
pretty interesting.
Yeah. Now you know next time. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's great. So, do you have any I know you smoke nicotine, but do you what's your favorite junk food?
My favorite junk food.
Mm,
I pretty much cut out junk food as much as I could. I'd have to say Munchos, the potato
Mon-
chip that's like
oh yeah.
foamy.
Uh-huh.
So good.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, and I asked you before in my house, you do you drink alcohol?
I do not.
Why is that?
Just like makes my head hurt. Like I just don't enjoy it.
That's great. It makes your head clear, right? So, what's your favorite beverage?
My favorite beverage, probably Lapsang Souchong.
What is that?
Smoked chamomile tea.
Oh,
It's so
wow.
good. It's so hard to find, but it tastes amazing.
Oh, yeah. And I learned something from you. Tell us, how do you make um, rose water?
Oh, rose water. It's really delicious. Good for rice pudding or for cream cheese frosting. It also helps with upset stomach, which I haven't seen online. Take some roses, make sure they're food grade, and they're not covered in pesticides. Boil some water, put the roses in them, take it off water, put it in the freezer right away, take it out, and you'll have some delicious beverage.
And then you can put it into some other things, right? Like
Yeah.
tea or yeah.
Put it in
Wow.
tea, you can put it in rice pudding, you can put it in any kind of dessert. It's pretty versatile.
So if I come to your house, what would you cook for me?
Depends on what's on sale at the grocery store, honey. I make a lot of different kinds of food. Right now, I've been eating a lot of chapati.
What's that?
It's like Indian roti skin. It's like a type of bread with no yeast or eggs or milk. It's so delicious. I So I fry out the roti skin, and then I put in chicken on top. I usually cook with like cumin and marsala, paprika, chili powder, and sometimes serrano peppers. Then I'll also put spinach, avocado, hummus, and pickled veggies. I've been eating that
Hmm.
non.
Wow, that sounds wonderful. Um, our conductor is asking you a question.
Where can you find that smoked chamomile tea? By looking hard. It's difficult to find. You can get it on Amazon though. I
Oh,
don't know if those are that good. I learned about it in a rap song, believe it or not. I was like, "What is this? What are those words? Like, what did he just say? I did not understand those sounds." I looked it up, and then by complete coincidence, a couple weeks later, my dad has a friend visit who really likes tea, and he gives him a bunch of like fancy types of tea. And one of them was Lapsang Souchong, and I tried it for the first time, and I immediately fell in love. I got some Lapsang Souchong from Bigelow. I did not like it. It's not good. Don't get the Bigelow. Go for the fancy ones.
yeah, I don't like Bigelow. I like to drink what do you call what's the tea called? Oh gosh, Earl Grey. I love Earl Grey, but Bigelow is a little bit boring, you know.
Yeah,
And
Bigelow
yeah.
makes a good Earl Grey, but their green tea I didn't like. Their English breakfast I didn't like. Like Earl Grey is the only Bigelow that I get.
Oh really? Oh okay. Yeah, I like the other brand called Tao. Is it a T Taozo? Tazo? Do you know that
Okay.
brand? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
very
they
good.
have really good green tea, I think.
Yeah. So for those of you who came late, I wanted to also ask you another question. You told me earlier you're coming to you have a project. You're coming to New York City. Tell us about it. Is it city or New
So
York?
no, New York City.
Oh,
I there's been some things with the venue. I think it's going to be in Soho. I don't have the address yet. Um, so next Wednesday is 420, basically National Weed Holiday. I know someone in the hip hop event planning space is going to be throwing a 420 show. There's going to be live music performances. There's going to be a DJ set. There's going to be art and clothing for sale. There's going to be free weed being given out. I'm going to be going to that show to provide harm reduction services. So I will be bringing a bunch of Narcan and fentanyl test strips. Narcan is opioid overdose reversal. So if someone takes too much oxy or morphine or heroin or fentanyl and they start to die, I can administer this medication, do CPR, and they'll start to breathe again. Then you call it EMT and you get the medical services. I will also be giving out fentanyl test strips so people can make sure that the drugs they're using are what they think it is and that there's not something extra in there that's going to kill them. And I'll also be working with local emergency services. That's going to
wow.
be this Wednesday, the 420.
Sounds interesting. Wow. Awesome. We have all kind of people made a comment about tea and everything. Oh, so funny. So I think we're near the. I have a student actually in 5 minutes coming, and yeah. So they're all talking about tea in here. So thank you so much. And you guys, if you have not subscribed this channel, please do so. Juhl Media. And do you have a YouTube channel, Sam?
Not really, no.
Okay, okay, yeah. But check Sam's SoundCloud. He has a lot of songs on it, and follow his Instagram, please. And yeah, so it's great to see all our friends here, new friend, old friend, young friend, and friend, and and thank you so much. Oh, another one coming. Real actual news.
Oh, what's up, Nigel?
Nigel.
I don't
Oh,
know if you guys were in at the same time, but
yeah.
Nigel, I met during Yang Month. Very good
Oh,
dude. I don't know if he's still doing it. I don't know. I haven't kept up with too much, but he made some really good videos during the campaign. Some like really
oh.
good videos.
Hey, what's up, Nigel? I don't remember if I have met Nigel. Yeah. But yeah,
He was
thanks
really
for
quiet
coming.
until he makes you laugh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Then he
Thanks for
starts talking.
coming. Yeah. And thank you everybody. We're about to close the room like a clubhouse. The room is closed. And yeah, so I do this conversation with friends quite often. Usually Sunday and then Wednesday. So this coming Wednesday, I may not have a show because I'm going to Pittsburgh on Tuesday, sending driving Sean to Pittsburgh Symphony.
Oh,
Yeah,
congratulations.
yeah. Sean is my son. He's gonna perform with Pittsburgh Symphony for 3 concerts. We're leaving Tuesday, and so I may not be able to do Wednesday show, but we'll see. So, but yeah. So in
Keep an eye on him.
general,
He's going to be spending 420 in a different city.
yeah. So wait, 420. Why are you guys keep saying 420? Tell me what's going on.
So I don't know why,
Yeah.
but 420 is like a weed holiday for some reason.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
420, blaze it, bro. That's like a meme in itself.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So in New York they have weed truck parked next to Times Square. So it's okay to smoke or to eat candies made by weed in New York, right? Is it?
I think in New York there's medical use and recreational use, but no retail. But I am
Oh,
not a law expert, so
okay.
wherever you are, go learn what the laws are where you are before you
Yeah,
get in
yeah.
trouble.
Yeah, I bought some I bought some candies from them, So, yeah. I
Hey,
mean,
if it helps you, it helps you. If it hurts you, stay away from it. That's all I can really say.
yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'll check it out. I need to experience more about that, but the what do you call? I remember when I eat ate one candy, I was a little tiptoe.
Yeah, with edibles, you got to be careful. It's easy to take too much.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay.
when you smoke weed, you pretty much just get the high from THC. When you eat weed, your body metabolizes it into like 10 different psychoactive chemicals.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's a lot more potent when you eat it. Um,
Oh, okay.
just
Okay.
just dose carefully. Start off with a small amount. Um, Takes like 30 minutes, 30 to 90 minutes before you feel the effects. Um, and I've heard jokes, which I've heard to be true, that the edibles don't kick in until you start saying that they haven't kicked in. Like they don't start working until you talk shit. That's what I've heard. What I've heard on the streets.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, gotta be careful. Yeah, and then
You
it's
know, as
like,
a harm
how come
reductionist,
it?
I'm like,
How come it did not kick in? Let me have another one.
and then as soon as you swallow that bite, then you're like, oh. As a harm reductionist, I'm pro personal choice. I'm pro freedom. I'm pro people doing things safely. But as an addiction counselor, I'm not someone who uses that myself. I'm sober. I always got to put that in the air. People should do what they want. They should know how to do it safely, and they should know that I'm not one of them.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Sam. It's great to see you again, and thank you for coming to New York one more time. Thank you. It was so great to have you, and I really appreciate you. And thank you, everybody, join us. Nick and Nigel and Mark.
And
Who else?
Yunjay,
And
thanks everybody.
Yinje. And earlier, there's another friend of us, Phil, right?
Yeah,
Philly,
Phil. What's up, Phil?
Phil. Yeah.
Drop in the
Thank.
chat with one of us you know, because I'm
Yeah.
terrible with names. Like
Yeah.
unless I can see your face, I'm not gonna know.
Want to
I,
see
I,
more? Want to see more? Yeah. No, he or she told me his name. I forgot. Sorry about that. So, but let me know next time. All right. So I am going to go close the room and
yeah, go
thank
get
you,
your sugar.
everybody. Yeah.
Go make your money,
So
Ching.
yeah, go make money. I'm gonna thank you so much. I'm gonna say goodbye to our friend first. Bye.